मिनट पहले आया
बंदा फोन जोए माथुर
हाँ
चंदा चंदू रुको बोला टाइम है चाय पीने ये मेरा जगह है ना ये ऐसे भी आप लोग
So glad you're here with us today. All right. The only way to describe our next guest is super. A superstar, a super dancer, a superhero, and also a massive fan of the Lord of the Rings. All right, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome on stage Hrithik Roshan. Welcome, Hrithik.
Thank you.
So glad to have you with us. Now, before we move forward, I have to ask you the question to both of you. What about the Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power, are you most excited about? Tamannaah, you want to take a crack at it?
Good afternoon, everyone. Well, definitely, Lord of the Rings, the cinematic appeal that it has, it's just one of a kind.
Yeah.
I still go back to it over and over again, and it still seems as fresh. I mean, it is visual storytelling at its best. So, be it the books or any of the screen adaptations that have been made, I feel like they're so engrossing and they just captivate you, take you into another world. And I feel like that quality is something I find most enchanting. Yeah, now that we've seen the teaser, the trailer, the preview, I really can't wait. I think it is stunning. As an audience, I'm just waiting, and I think it's going to be amazing.
Awesome. Hrithik, what excites you the most?
Oh, I think the trailer speaks for itself. Yeah. This is the kind of stuff that I aspire for. You know, it does something to my cells. It's visual extravaganza meeting great content. You know, and I'm just excited and thrilled that I'm going to be able to watch The Middle Ages on Prime Video on 2nd September. I also have a little tale to tell, if I may.
Please.
There's a little connection between me and the Lord of the Rings that I don't think anybody knows. And I recall this morning. So one random day back in 2004, my dad put on the Lord of the Rings Part 1, saw the film, couldn't stop, saw Part 2, couldn't stop, saw Part 3. And then he gave me a call, and he was just talking about the way they've used this one great, incredible idea, and then progressed and had this progression which was so incredible. And why can't we do that? So I said, okay, yeah, what are you talking about? And he said, why can't we take Koi Mil Gaya, which is one of our previous films, and have a progression and build on that? And that was the birth of Krish.
Wow.
So if there was no Lord of the Rings, there'd be no Krish. So I'm going to take this opportunity to give my little thanks to the Lord of the Rings for making Krish happen.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tamannaah. Thank you, Hrithik. It's been an absolute labor of love for us bringing this series to you. And we hope fans everywhere not only enjoy it, but also see the sincerity that we have attempted with in bringing Tolkien's work to life, right? And I thank you once again. I will now leave you two, fans of The Lord of the Rings, to bring on the stage the amazing team behind the series. All yours now. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for Sushant Sriram. Come on, we can do better. Yeah. This is truly an exciting moment for me and us, the fans of the fantasy franchise right now. And I am not going to take any fans of Hrithik and Tamannaah. Over to you guys.
Thank you, Xerxes. Thank you very much. It's indeed a matter of great honor and privilege to be interacting with the magnificent team behind this epic series. And I think the time has come. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for our incredible showrunner, Mr. J.D. Payne.
Hrithik, Tamannaah, thank you. Thank you both.
Thank you. Welcome to India, Mr. Payne. Thank you so much for being here. We're so excited and delighted that you are here.
Thank you very much. It's wonderful to be in India, and I feel like I had a very warm welcome. I had a few minutes to wander the streets, and like 2 minutes after I got out of my car, a holy man walked up to me and put a dot on my forehead and tied a bracelet around me and gave me a blessing. So
that's it. That's it.
I instantly felt blessed and welcomed in your country. So thank you.
That says it all. It's going to be a huge success now.
I believe it.
That's how it works. Well, this is such an incredible, aspiring piece of work. I just saw the trailer and I'm completely blown. Absolutely incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Tell me, I was just, what was your experience of encountering Tolkien's work? And what does Tolkien mean to you?
So I came to Tolkien by way of the Peter Jackson films. I saw them first when I was in my early 20s. And they were one of the few films that came out when I was an adult that got into my heart the way that films used to when I was a kid. And from there, I did the deep dive and read all the books and got super into it. And now they've woven themselves into the fabric of my life. Very rare does a day go by that I don't reference something happening in my life by way of Lord of the Rings, saying I feel like Frodo carrying the ring today, or when weddings or funerals come along, Tolkien quotes always make their way into my toasts or eulogies. So Tolkien is just part of my soul.
I can see the passion, and it shows in your work. And you have your incredible cast here with you.
Oh, they're absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
I'm really excited for you to
incredible.
get to meet them.
I've always believed that casting is one of the most difficult aspects of filmmaking. How was this process for you? How difficult was it for you?
Well, so we knew we had to get this right. The story we're telling is an amazing story. It's Tolkien's untold story of the Second Age. So we're telling the story of the forging of the Rings of Power, the rise of the Dark Lord Sauron, the fall of Numenor, and finally the last alliance of elves and men. And so to be able to bring that really to life, we knew we needed a cast that was really special. And so we had really two criteria for our cast. And one, they had to be amazing performers, but two, they had to have Middle-earth in them. You had to look in their eyes and feel like they could have stepped out of a magical portal and been from Middle-earth transported to our world. And so we auditioned hundreds and hundreds of people for every single role and found 22 needles in 22 haystacks.
That's incredible. How long was the process?
For quite a long time. I mean, it took basically a year to find our entire cast.
That's incredible, absolutely incredible. And is this the first time that you're working with Amazon Studios?
Yes.
What was that experience like?
Amazing. So Amazon decided that they wanted to put on this enormous adaptation of Tolkien, and they had a huge ambition, and our ambition matched their appetite for what they wanted to do. They went out and got the rights to it, and then they basically said it's a wide open field, and so they opened it up to Hollywood to say, like, who has an idea for how they'd like to take this material and tell a story. And my partner and I came in and pitched a way in, and they got excited about it, and since then they have been incredibly supportive. They've given every resource necessary to realize Tolkien's imagination on the grandest scale possible.
Wow, that's incredible.
They're amazing. We've been very, very, very fortunate.
I'm so glad you had a great experience.
I mean, it was a fantastic experience. And I've worked with every studio in town in Hollywood, and Amazon has been amazingly supportive.
I have one last question. How many days did it take you to shoot?
Oh gosh, it was well, so we had COVID that was in the middle of it. So we shot 20 some odd days, and then COVID interrupted us, and we were on a hiatus for about 6 months. And then so I mean, it depends on how you count: first unit days, second unit days, stunt days, VFX days, but something like 300-ish.
Count them all.
Sort of
300-ish.
And so a gargantuan schedule.
I'd say that's inspiring.
Guys, can you imagine my state as to how badly I'm fangirling right now? Like, J.D. Payne, Hrithik Roshan. J.D. Payne, welcome to India. How has it been for you? I really want to know.
Oh, it's been fantastic. It's been really fantastic. I've dreamed of coming to India my entire life. I've admired this entire country from afar, and had Indian friends since I was a young boy. My first Indian friend was Hrithik Bhatia, that I used to play soccer and football with when we were 10 years old, and then I've had Indian friends ever since, and so it's beautiful to finally come to this wonderful, wonderful place.
I'm so glad you feel that way. Now I'm going to dare and ask you this question. You are an epic storyteller. Star Trek, guys, there's nobody who hasn't seen it. It's not possible. So, I mean, this is something that's a familiar ground for you in terms of scale and, storytelling. But was it daunting for you to attempt material that has fan following, which is so widespread, and for them, this material is so sacred? Also, was it any kind of pressure while you were attempting Tolkien's work?
Well, I mean, the biggest pressure was the pressure that Patrick and I put on ourselves, simply because there's such a need for what Middle-earth can bring to our world. There's a real darkness in our world right now. There's a lot of people who are in a lot of pain. Political darkness, economic darkness, social darkness, just a lot of challenges. And Middle-earth speaks to people in their soul. It's one of the reasons why Tolkien's work has been, next to like the Bible, the Quran, and certain writings of Mao Zedong, Tolkien has been the most selling work of all time. And I think that's because no matter what country people come from, no matter what background they have, when people find Tolkien, it goes past all of those other things and finds them in their heart and in their soul. And so we felt like we needed to capture that special feeling of Tolkien. Because really, the Second Age, the story I mentioned a moment ago, Tolkien sketched it out, but he didn't do it in a ton of detail in a lot of parts. So there was a lot of things where we had to very carefully excavate what he had shown us, but then also to continue to connect the dots and fill some of the gaps in where necessary. So we tried to do that in as Tolkienian a way as possible, to be able to bring that light and that feeling of Middle-earth. And I could say that one of my best moment so far was we showed some Tolkien superfans about 20 minutes of the show, and we were sort of flies on the wall sitting in the back of the auditorium, and I heard someone ask, well, what did you guys think of it? And one of them said, it just feels like Middle-earth. And I spontaneously broke into tears. And I was like, that's all I wanted to accomplish.
That is amazing. Well, हम पहली बार कर रहे हैं यार, एक ताली तो मार लो हमारे लिए.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, I think it's been so nice, knowing these things from you. But I really want to meet
the cast.
Yeah,
the entire cast.
Totally excited to bring them out. Yeah, I'm happy to introduce them.
Shall we?
Yeah, guys, you want to start walking on out, and I'll give introductions as you do. I think first I see.
Stand up.
Do I see Nazanin Bonyadi? I think is our first one back there.
Well, it's the Second Age, so he's much younger than the trilogy or anything like that. He's half elven, which is a sort of unique thing in the elven world. He's young, he's ambitious, he's serving his king. yeah, curious about different cultures and stuff.
Was it fun?
Very fun. Very
Was it
fun.
hard?
Very hard, yeah. Yeah.
Then it was fun.
Nazanin, can I ask you a question?
Yes, please.
So you play Bronwyn of the Southlands,
Yes.
and she's the healer. So what we've seen in the trailers, she's extremely powerful, yet she's nurturing. So from where did you draw the strength to play a character this magnanimous?
Thank you for the question. It's so good to be back in India. And thank you for your warm welcome and hospitality. I love playing Bronwyn because she is so multifaceted. She's, as you said, a healer, a single mother to a rebellious teenage son played by Tyro, in a forbidden romance with an elf, Arondir, who is tasked with watching over the Southlanders. I play a Southlander who historically, her ancestors chose the wrong side. They chose evil over good, and she's trying very hard to redeem them. What I love about her is that she is very resilient and strong, as you said, as well as nurturing. And I was going to be a doctor before I started acting. I have a degree in biology, so that side of her, the healing side, resonates with me. But also her determination to redeem her people and to liberate them from the forces of evil of their past, the shackles of their past, really resonates with me as an activist, because I'm a long-time activist for my homeland, Iran, human rights activist. And women in Iran and in many places in the world are at the forefront of the move towards democracy, freedom, and human rights. And so that's where I drew inspiration.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And may I just say, I have seen your work, and I think you're an incredible actor. And thank you for all the wonderful things that you're doing and you're standing for.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Excellent. Tyro, my man.
How's it going?
You play Theo, right?
Yes.
And you're the youngest of them all.
Looks like it, yeah.
What was it like? What's the experience, man?
Well, I mean, I think this is kind of big for everyone because it's not every day you get to work on The Lord of the Rings, which is huge. But, you know, thank you to JD for entrusting me with the role, given my inexperience, I guess you could say. But no, I think the whole cast has been really, really, really supportive and, you know, have really taken me under their wing, especially Naz. You know, I was very, very nervous and anxious. I came from working on sets with like 5 people as the crew to hundreds. And, you know, it was very, very overwhelming. But, you know, with J.A. and, you know, Wayne and Charlotte and Naz, Ismail, Ian, everyone that I worked with just made me feel so comfortable and helped me do my job, which is ultimately the most important thing. And yeah, I went from Perth to Mumbai in front of all these beautiful people, and I'm here. And yeah, how's it going, everyone? Yeah, I'm truly, truly blessed.
That's amazing, man. You almost look in character.
Oh, yeah.
I like it. I like the style.
Thank you.
It's a Middle Earth orange.
It's Middle Earth orange. And Charles,
Yes.
hi.
Yes, hi.
Seen your work, big fan.
Thank you very much.
Everyone knows the famous Elven characters of Galadriel and Elrond, but I believe there is no story without you. Do you agree?
I'd have to agree with that, yes.
Good answer.
Although, no, obviously there are many, many other stories and themes in Tolkien and in our show, but ultimately the story of the Rings of Power is the one that brings them all to a head. But that's what's so interesting about Tolkien. For such a major storyline, he gives Celebrimbor very little page space. He's mentioned briefly, and those contradict each other, those mentions. So what our hunt, the showrunners, myself, the heads of department, the directors and the writers, is to find the hooks that Tolkien has given us, hang a few things on there, see how that goes, and then rummage around in the wardrobe a little more, see what else one can find in there, a few more hooks, a few more bits and pieces, hang it all up and see how it looks. And it's also the first time that Celebrimbor has been featured in a live-action adaptation of Tolkien's stories, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing what you all think about him.
Amazing.
Lloyd, I'd really like to ask you, you're playing Elendil,
I am.
who's the father to Isildur.
Isildur, yeah.
Isildur's a
This
very
naughty boy
important
here.
character, but I just didn't want to do debauchery of the language service. Like, okay, let me not get Isildur wrong, because everyone out there will want to come after me then. So definitely, you're playing the father to Isildur and Earian, who's played by Maxim and Emma. So can you tell us what do we expect out of the series? And what is this world, and what's been the experience for you being a part of this?
Thank you for the question. First of all, it's really, really good to be back in India too, like Naz. I've had a beautiful experience working here in the past, so very happy to be back. Yes, Elendil, who is, as we see him at the beginning of the series, he's a sea captain, very capable man, but he's been widowed and he's trying to deal with his grieving adult children, two of whom are present here in Maxim and Emma, as you say. And he's a very well-known character in the Legendarium, and many fans of the movies will have seen him in brief, but if you read the books, he's referred back to a lot, and he's a sort of hero archetype. And he's very dear to a lot of the fans' hearts for that reason, because of his ultimate self-sacrifice at the end during the alliance of elves and men, where he dies in the act of trying to defeat Sauron. So, but again, rather like Charles was saying about Celebrimbor, there are only these sort of limited signposts along the way that Tolkien gives us. So there's this great sort of responsibility and privilege and excitement to be able to fill out those gaps. And where we see him at the very beginning is this one. Tolkien's Atlantis is Numenor, the island of Numenor, where Elendil comes from. And at this point in the story, Numenor is at its absolute peak, but it's right on the precipice between a sort of more nationalist side of the island, which feels they need an independence from the elves, and a more faithful side. And Elendil is very much torn between those two parts of society, between his head and his heart. His head is rational, pragmatic, trying to keep his family safe, and his heart is drawn towards the faithful. And something of the schism in that society is also reflected deep in the family within his children. So that there's a lot for him to deal with at the beginning, and I'm very excited to chart this man through that journey. So yeah, I'm very, very privileged and very excited to be here.
As an actor being on the set, the adaptation of Numenor, nobody's ever seen this world. So how is it to be on a set which so many people have imagined but never really seen? You were actually there, so what was the experience like?
It was genuinely extraordinary in the sense that in the modern world we expect everything to be CGI now, but we built Numenor, we built the capital city of Numenor, and it took 6 months to build. And I remember the first day walking onto that set was quite an extraordinary experience. I was with JD and he showed me around, and just the attention to detail, the amount of skill and brilliance in every department on this job, and ultimately the dedication and love that you feel. So they built the city from the ground up, and you can feel the history and how architecture changed over centuries, where loyalties lie, and the changing face of the landscape around it. Because that was I think my second day on set was filming a sequence on the beach with Galadriel as we're riding our horses. And again was with JD, and we realized that this is the first time that we'd seen the geography of Numenor, the physical geography of Numenor. And that was another beautiful moment to think, wow, I'm actually the first person to be part of that. So that was super exciting. And there's one member of our security team from Amazon who walked us back when we were in Comic-Con, walked us back to the hotel. And she said, I've been told not to talk to the actors and geek out about Lord of the Rings. I was like, come on, geek out. Let's see what you got. But she'd said both her parents were fans of Lord of the Rings. She'd read it. She'd read the Silmarillion. She'd watched the movies. And she said, and when she saw Numenor on screen for the first time, she'd seen the first 3 episodes, she said she just burst into tears. And I took that as a really, really good sign that oftentimes when we read the books, our imagination is really powerful, but somehow this exceeded her expectations, or should I say enhanced her expectations of what Numenor was. So I was really, really pleased about that.
That's really amazing. That's
All
really...
I'm thinking is I wish I had that voice.
I know, it's a great voice, isn't it?
It's a little deeper after the
Yeah,
aeroplane
you can
flight
use
we
it,
just
right?
took,
You know how to
but,
use it.
Lloyd, the thing is, most of the times I sound like you. So I have a hard time sounding like me. Maxim, Isildur, huh?
Yes.
How does it feel? Because this is a character that everyone is waiting to watch. And it has fans all over the world. So where does this arrive in the series?
Well, he's a sailor on the kind of cusp of adulthood when we first meet him, and there's an emptiness and a void in him, and I guess he doesn't really want to fit into the societal expectations of him. He doesn't want to really be like his father in a way, but then there's a pressure to also...
Children.
So you kind of meet him deliberating and yearning for something else that potentially is not in Numenor, not on the island.
Nice. Emma, I have a question to ask you. Do you want to say something, Hrithik?
Go on.
Are you sure you don't want to say anything?
Absolutely sure.
Just checking.
I was just thinking he could do well in Hindi films.
Actually, he does have a very Indian face.
Yeah. I don't know if it's...
I'll take that.
Would you do a film in which you would cast the three of us?
The three of us?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, well, if you write it.
Anyone interested? Make us
Mr.
out
Payne.
there, in case anyone's listening to us.
Between seasons, see no evil, hear no evil.
Emma, your character, hi. How is Mumbai treating you? Please tell me.
It's awesome.
It's
I'm
awesome.
so happy to be here. I've never even been to Asia, so this is,
Wow.
continental and country-wise, I'm like, wow, totally new.
And when did you come in, if I may ask?
Sorry?
When did you reach here, if I may ask?
3 a.m. this morning.
And she looks so stunning. Guys,
All of you
big
guys.
round of
That's
applause for just
incredible.
that absolute beauty. Emma, you're playing Aryan,
Yes.
and that's a beautiful name.
Yeah, I love it.
Do you love it? Yeah, I think it sounds very magical.
It means sea maiden.
Sea Maiden.
Nice.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I was about to ask you, what does it mean?
About
Okay.
the name, yeah?
Good. That's but does this have any significance with, is it relevant in any way to the islands of Numenor, or is there any significance as to how that's a part of how you created the character?
Yes, Numenor is a very nautical society, and so it's very apt that she's named after the sea. Isildur means servant of the moon, and Anarion, the middle child, is a reference to the sun. So her siblings, their names reference sort of celestial, heavenly bodies, and her name is quite grounded, which is very apt because the schism that Lloyd was mentioning that's occurring on the island is also starting to take shape within the family. She's immensely proud of her people and the island and the beauty that they've created and the society that they've created. And she's quite frustrated with both of her brothers who have these sort of romantic ideas of the past and spend a lot of time sort of looking up, and she's very much looking down at the beauty that her people have created. So yeah, I think her name is very appropriate.
It's a beautiful name indeed.
And Markella, hi again.
Hello.
You play Nori, a Harfoot.
Yes.
Am I saying that right? Harfoot.
Yes, you are. It wasn't working before. Yes, I do. I play Harfoot.
Harfoot. What is a Harfoot?
A Harfoot, they're a migratory group. They're a community, and they have big feet and ears, and they have a lot of heart and joy, and stick together in the face of adversity, and they're constantly looking over their shoulders, but they're optimists as well, despite having to be survivors.
Is there anything specific that makes them special to you?
I think that they don't see their vulnerability as a weakness. I think that
Wow.
they're able to
I like that.
recognize how it can be a strength, and actually by opening up to people, to the rest of the community and to their loved ones, they can hopefully find a better life for themselves and find themselves a home.
Right. And Megan, you, hi Megan.
Hello.
You play Poppy, who is best friends with Nori.
Yes, I do.
Right, and what can we expect out of this friendship?
Poppy and Nori's friendship, they are very much the yin to each other's yang. Poppy is sort of the more cautious out of the two of them, and I think it's safe to say Nori is the more adventurous of the two of them. Yes. So that already tells you quite a lot. But Poppy sticks by Nori's side throughout the series, and that is sort of like an ongoing theme, I think. But she does that because she finds it important. She has such a love and loyalty for her friend. And she finds it, you know, Markella's already mentioned the community, and in the community they have a very specific set of rules. And they're very important in order to ensure everybody's safety. And Poppy really believes in those. And so the reason that she follows Nori is for protection. She believes that that's the best way to protect everybody, community included. So they get up to a lot of adventure and a lot of mischief and a lot of fun.
Sorry. Did y'all know each other before the
No,
shoot?
we didn't.
We didn't. We met on the day.
On the
Or maybe
day.
like a couple of weeks before we started filming.
But it was really nice because we got to sort of hang out and call it work.
That's nice.
Yeah, it was really nice.
That's nice.
They're like sisters, these two. It's amazing.
And Sarah, you have been a fan of the books and the films, and now you get to play the matriarch of the Brandyfoot Harfoot family.
I do, yes.
Wow, what was that like for you?
Well, it's amazing. I just suddenly realised there's 3 parents here with naughty children. Actually, that's a bit of a theme of today. I haven't actually done interviews with the other parents here, so it's quite funny. As a fan of fantasy, it was obviously incredible, but I don't think you needed to be a fan of fantasy to realise that this is an absolute dream job. I mean, first of all, this incredible cast that I get to work with and that I get to now travel around the world with and come to an amazing country like India, where I haven't been before, is just a joy. So, lover of fantasy or not, it's been one of the best jobs of my career. Playing Marigold is also an absolute honour. Thank you to JD and Patrick. Being a parent to this beautiful actress here, Markella Kavanagh, and a surrogate mum to Megan Richards, and having so much fun on set. The Harfoots, as Markella was saying, you know, they've been through a lot, but they have a lot of joy and laughter and love, and that's what it was like being on set. We just had such an incredible time working together. And I'm quite stunned that I'm sitting here with them all now, able to talk about it to the world. It's just such a privilege.
Well, I have to say, the joy and the love, it shows. It's showing on all your faces. This is going to be a great one, guys.
JD, to round this off, do you have anything that you want to tell our lovely audiences? And also, do my elfish ears make a cut? Would like to know.
They're wonderful. I mean, you would actually have to cut them a little bit to help them make the cut, but but they're close. They're close.
Okay, good.
Let's talk. Have your people call my people.
That sounds like a plan.
Well, I just wanted to reiterate what a special group of people you have in front of you right now. It's been my great joy to work with them each over the course of several years now, and I look at them each and have a dozen stories that pop into my mind for every single one of the people here. And you're just getting a small taste of it now, but each of them in some moment of the season will take your breath away. They truly have that special something that is part of Middle-earth that is inside of them that they've managed to capture with these characters, and the world is going to discover it very soon. And also, a few last things I'd love to say is that I take it here, many people are fans of Tolkien, but if you haven't ever experienced Tolkien before, if you've never even worn a ring before, and have no idea or if you wandered off the street, or if this is reaching someone who hasn't experienced Middle-earth, you don't need to know anything about Tolkien to enjoy this show. You can walk in off the street having never seen any of the movies, having never read any of the books, and the show will sweep you away and tell you all that you need to know about Middle-earth, and then hopefully point you back to the books because they're really worth doing the deep dive on. They're books that really stay with you and get inside of you in a very unique and special way. This is a time in the world when we need a little bit of Tolkien and we all need a little bit of Middle-earth. So we hope that you're able to enjoy the show and feel that special thing that each of these people has been such a foundational part of bringing to life these years. So thank you very much for having us here. We really appreciate it.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
I have to say this to JD, to the entire cast and crew, that this is something that I personally believed in, that cinema in any language, anywhere in the world, the moment it is based on human emotions, basic human emotions, it always cuts through all. There's no language needed, there's no country needed, and I feel like that faith that I have in the cinema that I want to do has been reaffirmed by Rings of Power. So thank you all for coming here and being a part of this press conference. We're so excited for this, and we can't wait to see the series.
Thank you so much, Tamannaah, and thank you, Hrithik.
Thank you very much.
Wasn't that a wonderful... Sorry, I didn't mean to pull a Ring of Power on you. But yeah, wasn't that a wonderful moment for all us fans of the Lord of the Rings? Let's give them a huge round of applause and the wonderful cast and crew of Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power. It's a perfect opportunity for a photo op at this point, yeah? Yeah, let's have Gaurav, Albert and Sushant back on stage for a wonderful photo op with the cast and crew, Hrithik and Tamannaah.
Nikalu.
How will you take it off?
Everybody gets a picture.
Can you help?
I'll get that, don't worry.